When your Duzi slider is shipped from the factory, it has been adjusted and tested for a smooth and stable glide. But the slider rollers can be micro-adjusted in cases where the carriage becomes either too tight or too loose. Let's take a look at how to perform these adjustments. If the slider carriage is too loose, check to see if both sets of wheels are loose or just one of the sets. If both sets are loose, the carriage will reveal some play along both edges. If one side is not loose and the other side is loose, the carriage will rock slightly when pressure is applied. To micro-adjust the rollers, use the larger of the two hex wrenches to loosen all four of the roller wheels from the underside of the carriage. Note that the inner set screws will tighten the carriage if turned clockwise, and the outer screws will loosen the carriage. Turn both of the inner set screws along the same side of the rail by an equal amount in small increments, as small as 1/8 of a turn. After making a small adjustment, tighten all four wheels and check for tightness. If the carriage is still loose, repeat the procedure. If the carriage is now tight enough for zero play, then it is time to make sure that it is not too tight. With a weight of approximately 2 pounds mounted to the carriage, place it on a level surface and lift one set of feet about 3/4 of an inch. The carriage should gently roll to the other side without binding. Then check in the other direction. If the carriage slides freely and there is no play in the carriage, you are done. If the carriage catches or sticks, then the adjustment is too tight. Loosen the four rollers again, and this time turn the outer screws by a small amount. For example, half of the amount that you turned the inner screws when tightening. Tighten the rollers and perform both the rock and slide test again. Repeat until the carriage is both tight and free to slide. If only one of the sets of rollers are loose, then it is necessary to tighten only one side of the carriage. Loosen the two rollers along the side to be tightened. Tighten the inner screw by a small amount. Tighten the roller wheels and check if the play has been removed. If so, then perform the tightness check as outlined in the previous segment. If the carriage rolls freely in both directions, then you are done. If it sticks, then loosen the same set of rollers that you just adjusted and turn the outer screw clockwise by half of the amount as the one that you just tightened. Tighten the rollers and check again. Repeat until the carriage is both tight and free to slide. If your carriage is not loose, but instead reveals some friction or stickiness along the rails, then either one or both sets of rollers are too tight. To begin, assume that both sets are too tight. Loosen all four of the rollers and turn the outer screws clockwise by a very small equal amount, perhaps as little as 1/8 of a turn. Tighten the rollers and test. If the slider now rolls freely in both directions, and if both sides of the carriage are not loose, then you are done. If one or both sides of the carriage displays any play, then follow the procedures for tightening described earlier. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to call Cinevate at the number shown.